What's up? Everybody here, it's January 2026. We're ready to get some stuff done this year. I don't know about y'all, but I feel it. This year is the year. And I'm going to try my best to help you facilitate the best year you've ever had. My name's Banjo, Eric Commerdale. Everybody calls me Banjo because I made them do that when I joined the railroad about 20 years ago. And my grandpa, they called him Banjo forever. Dad took the nickname on, so I'm like technically Banjo the Third. Bought my first rental in 2008. Did it all wrong for 10 years. 2018, I went to a little class, learned how to do some creative real estate stuff, and then from there it's been over with since then. I quit the railroad, I think 2020, and been doing it full time for a few years now. Salt and Light Property Solutions is our business. We are out of Poplarville, Mississippi, and I'm honored to be here. Brett, appreciate you. I'm big. Anybody knows me, I'm really big on mindset. You're not going to hardly have a conversation with me unless you want to like go a little deep. Some people love it, some people hate it. So I really wanted to name this, if Cole was here, he could vouch for me. I wanted to name it the title, Check Yourself Before You Wreck Yourself. And he laughed. And he was like, what do you really want to name it? And I'm like, I want to name it Check Yourself Before You Wreck Yourself. I'm not kidding. He's like, what about something like setting your goals 2026 and building a real plan? So this is it. But there you go, Cole. The great theologian Ice Cube. So let's get into it here. We're not just talking about goal talk tonight. By the end of the next hour, you should have down some very smart written goals and an action plan and a really clear vision of what you're going to take hold of in 2026. We're going to build at least a year plan, probably a 3-year vision. You're going to have some real business goals, not just vague wishes, and an action plan that you can implement literally immediately. And of course, you're here to network as well. So let's talk about vision. I look at your vision on life just like when you're driving a car, especially when you just first started driving and you got your hand on the wheel and you got to get something in the passenger seat and then you look up and you're like veering off the road. It's the same thing in life and in business. If you're not paying attention to your vision and you don't have a clear windshield, let's say, or you take your eye off of your destination, you're going to start veering. So it's very important that when we're going through this stuff, you keep your vision in front of you and you keep your goals in front of you. All right, we're going to talk about that a little bit. This is the part where it gets a little bit hippy-drippy, a little bit woo-woo, but you got to follow me. If you're in here and you're serious about changing your life and leveling up your real estate game, I know you have it already in your mind and in your heart, but this is where it really starts to actually happen, all right? I'm gonna have y'all close your eyes. And just trust me on this. Close your eyes. We're gonna get our mind right because you need to be relaxed. You need to get your creative juices flowing. This is a breathing exercise that I do before I meditate. All right. So if you feel like you're gonna pass out, just start breathing normal though. All right, here we go.
You'll inhale through your nose for a count of 4. Hold the breath for a count of 7. And exhale through your mouth for a count of 8. Okay, inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. 7, 8.
All right, keep your eyes closed. You should be in a good, nice, calm, creative juices flowing. All right. I want you to imagine it's December of 2028 right now. Imagine waking up, and I want you to imagine where you are. What do you hear? What do you feel? I'm talking about take it all in. The smells, the sounds. Now I want you to think about your business. I'm talking 3 years from now. What kind of deal flow you're going to have? What kind of deals are you doing? What kind of capital do you have access to? What does your team look like? What kind of systems do you have in place? What does your typical morning look like? What type of revenue are you generating? And now think about your health, your energy, your strength, your vitality. Now think about your personal life. What about your family, freedom, the peace that you have? Now I want you to imagine that your systems are humming. Tasks are automated, delegated, and you're working on your business, not just in your business. You are the CEO of your business. And I want you to take it all in. All right. You can open your eyes. Hopefully some of y'all were able to really imagine it and really take it all in, all right? Hold on to that. As you were imagining 2028, some major zones you might have been thinking about, not just in business but in life, deal flow, maybe raising private money, some processes and systems, automation, delegation, revenue targets, what type of strategy or niche you're in, and then of course, you got to have personal growth, and then health and fitness. We're going to come back to some of these, all right? So right now is where we get to work. I want you to get a full page out, or two, whatever. Just get something that you can write on, and we're going to brain dump everything that came to mind. Just start writing it all over the paper. Everything that comes to mind, no editing or anything like that. Business goals, personal goals, big dreams, wild ideas. Your brain just gave you a roadmap, and I want you to put it on paper. Don't edit anything. Anything that comes to mind, write it down. I'm going to give you all a few minutes to get that done. Holler at me if you got any questions or anything. Anybody need any pens? Things to be thinking about: deal flow, raising private money, processes and systems, automation, delegation, what your team look like, revenue targets, what kind of strategy or niche you're really good at, what type of things are you doing for your personal growth, where do you want to be health-wise, fitness-wise, what's your family life look like, what are you doing in the mornings when you wake up, what has to be done to get there, anything and everything that you imagined during your when you was creating your vision. Very important to have a solid vision, and it's got to be big, because as you're traveling through the next 3 years, there's going to be a lot of things that you don't want to be doing. It's going to suck. And if you're just hanging on to insignificant motivation, you're going to fizzle out, and you're not going to want to do the things that suck. But if your why and your vision is strong enough, it's going to get you through the mundane days. want to give you all the time you need because this is important. It's important to get everything out on paper. Think outside the box. I have a vision. It's still my vision. I haven't completed it yet, but I got a goal. At one point, I got a 2-bedroom house on my property, and I'm going to turn it into a spa. Everybody thinks I'm crazy. Mark my words, before I die, I'll have a full-blown spa. Cold plunge, dry sauna, wet sauna, float tank, workout area. I'm going to turn a 2-bedroom house into that one day. But I got it written down, and I review it often. And it came about one day when I was doing this. Anything that you can imagine that you want to have happen in the next 3 years, put it down there. Still got quite a few people writing, so we're going to keep it up, guys. Should have a whole page full of stuff. Another minute or two. Thought about changing the next slide after I was reviewing it, but I just kept it anyway. So now you're going to look at your dump and choose 3 to 5 areas that will move the needle most in 2026. What are the top 2 or 3 things that are going to transform your life and your business over the next 3 years? It should be pretty big ones. And if not, that's okay. But don't be afraid to circle something that's pretty audacious. What's up, brother? Sorry about that. Ain't good. Something that if you accomplished, it would be a massive win. All right. So these kind of become containers for your 2026 goals. When I'm writing down my goals and I'm identifying and prioritizing things, it starts to become like an outline form. And you might want to have big categories like deal flow. And to give you an idea, deal flow, let's say you want so many deals per month. Well, then you got to identify how are you going to get those deals per month, what vendors you might use or what strategies you might use. And it kind of looks like deal flow is the title. Then you're going to have a couple of deal sources. What are you going to, how much budget are you going to put towards each source and stuff like that. Same thing with all the rest of these categories. Now we're going to talk about SMART goals. When you're making a goal, it's important that it's a SMART goal. A lot of people will make a goal and it's not specific enough. It's not measurable. Sometimes it's not attainable. I like to use, for the A, I like to use attainable yet ambitious. So don't be too cautious with your goals. They should be pretty wild. It's got to be relevant to your main vision. And of course, it's time bound. So you're going to have a deadline for these goals. All right. If your goals aren't smart, then they're just more like wishes. Okay. You want to stretch your goals out. You don't want it to be too easy. An example of a goal that's not real, I want to lose some weight this year. Better smart goal, I will lose 20 pounds by July 31st, 2026 by tracking macros daily, working out 4 times a week, and walking 10,000 steps a day. Super specific, it's measurable, it's attainable, it is relevant to my goal and my vision, and it's time bound because I have a date on it. All right, so that's an example of a SMART goal. Here's an example of a goal that's related to real estate. I will generate 60 qualified leads per month by Q3 2026 by implementing targeted banded signs, optimizing Facebook ads, and weekly networking calls. This is what my goals look like. My quarterly goals look something like this. Up top, you will have deal flow, and then I'll just structure it down. I might have a section for funding. What are my goals for funding? How am I going to attract private money? What else? Processes, systems, and automations. That should be probably another category. And then you keep going on and on for your business and your life. Networking events was one of them. That one actually went under deal flow for me. So if I wanted to be at a certain amount of networking events, I would identify them. How many am I going to realistically attend each year? So on and so forth. Bandit signs, same thing. If you got something like bandit signs under deal flow, you're going to really want to narrow it down. Where are you going to put your bandit signs? How many are you going to put out? Are you going to be able to automate that or delegate those tasks? If so, how? That kind of stuff. All right, so this is a kind of shortened version. All right, you're going to do this with all of the things you have written down on your paper. You got your top 2 or 3, so we can kind of focus on that right now. But you're going to go in there and you're going to make a list of all these goals, okay? And you're going to put it in an outline form like this. Once you get your goals, how do you actually get it done? I put together a system from a bunch of books and a bunch of training and a bunch of coaching. I think it works like a charm. It changed over the years, but basically you want to get yourself an inbox. What do I mean by an inbox? Anything that you can capture your to-dos on. What this does is it keeps you focused on the task at hand. So you're at your house and you have a task that you want to get through your emails for the next hour and a half. And so you're working on your emails, and then a text comes through, and it's like, hey, the toilet overflowed on this rental or whatever, right? And it pulls your focus from it. What you do with your inbox is it's got to be on you at 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I use Google Notes and ClickUp. Mostly ClickUp nowadays, but Google Notes is a good one. Just anything, if you're a notepad person, keep a notepad in your pocket or whatever and write it down. If it's an emergency, I may have picked up a wrong example. If it's an emergency, obviously you got to do what you got to do. But most of the time, things that pop up during the day that takes your focus away from what you're doing is not an emergency and you can handle it later. So it all goes in your inbox. Those are projects, if you will. Then you're going to clarify and organize the things that fall into your inbox at the end of the day. When your day's kind of done, at the end of the day, this is when you do this. And you're going to prioritize it with the Rockefeller quadrants. We'll talk about it in a second. And then you're going to use your calendar system, which you need to treat as absolute sacred territory. Don't do like I did in the beginning and put everything on your calendar that you want to do, but you're not doing most of it, because then your calendar becomes something that's not really that important. And I find myself with my calendar notification going off, and I look at it and it says something that I don't really need to do and I wasn't really dedicated to it, and I put it back in my pocket. Well, if you do that enough, when the important thing dings, you don't even look at your phone and you're missing meetings and everything like that. So Treat your calendar as like absolute sacred territory. If it's on your calendar, it's getting done. And then, of course, delegate and automate anything that can be delegated and automated. A good practice to do this is write down all your tasks you do that's repeatable, either daily repeatable tasks or weekly repeatable tasks, and then you can make a system for it, and you find somebody to delegate that task to. It'd be awesome if it's a computer task, then you get on Zoom, you can record it, talk to the computer and like explain how you're doing it. Now you got a video of how it's done. And then nowadays, even with ChatGPT, you can create a process pretty easy, and you got a written process along with a video that you can hand to your VA or whoever that you want to do that task, and they can get it done pretty easily. So what do I mean when I say the quadrant system? This is the quadrant system. Quadrant 1 is going to be your important and urgent tasks. Quadrant 2 is important, but not so urgent. Quadrant 3 is urgent, but not important. And then quadrant 4 is not urgent and not important. The crazy thing about this system, Brett can tell you, anybody in here feel like they just have so many things to do every day? They're knocking tasks out every day. It's like run. And sometimes, some days you don't even feel like you've got anything done. Does anybody have that? I have that a lot. Not when you use this system though, because everybody operates in quadrant 1 if you're not paying attention. Because if it's on fire and it needs attention now, it's important and it's urgent. That's what we're doing today. When you live that life without it written down like this, you operate in quadrant 1, and then all your stuff in quadrant 2, which is kind of like your oil change on your car, doesn't need to happen right now, but it's important. It doesn't get done until it becomes a problem. And now your car is making noise, and oh my goodness, I got to go get oil change, and you end up going to get oil change, right? So that kind of thing. So that's why this system right here is important. So at the end of the day, when you look at your projects that just came in, you put them in the quadrants that they belong in. All right. Here's some rules that I use to move the needle. All right, that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to do things that are actually going to bring us forward, bring us to our vision. You've got to use an inbox. A nice little rule that I stole from a book called How to Get Things Done is if it takes less than 2 minutes, just do it now. Because if you do this and you do it right, you're going to have a million things on the paper, a million projects in your inbox because you've just been piling them up. Anything that takes 2 minutes, just get them done right there. Everything else, put it on a whiteboard or in ClickUp or wherever you want on your quadrant system. And from your quadrant system is where you choose 5 to 7 things each day. Now remember, we're doing this in the evening. When you're done work, you take, probably in the beginning, you're probably going to take it all from quadrant 1 because your quadrant 1 is going to be filled up. But after a couple of days, maybe a week or two, quadrant 1 is going to start getting lower, and then you can start taking the stuff from 2 and 3. And you might put 5 or 4 quadrant 1s and 1, 2, and 1, 3, right? And then you start getting things done. You want to choose the 5 to 7 high impact tasks each day. What out of the quadrant system is going to move your business forward or get you to your goal the quickest? You're going to find out, I promise. If you do the system, test it out, in about 3 weeks you're going to be going, I ain't got really much to do today. What am I going to do? How does this happen? It's weird, but it works. Some little statistics about normal people. 80% don't even set clear goals. Only 14% write them down. So you're like already there. And those who write their goals are 4 times more likely to achieve them. I'm going to give you a tip. I don't think I have it on the next slide or anything. One of the most important things you could do with your goals, once you get this thing written down and you have it in the outline form, you got your inbox filled up, you're tracking, you're doing all your things. Remember, at the beginning of this meeting, it's January 2026. Things are about to change. You implement this system, we're going to be talking a year or 2 from now, and you're going to be like, wow, I got a lot done that year, right? You want to really get it done. You do this. Not only that, you look at your goals each and every day, every single morning. Review your goals. Not all of them. You might have 3 pages worth of goals in your outline, But you're going to highlight the ones, because they're time bound, because they're SMART goals. You're going to highlight the ones that's going to happen in the next month or two or week or two or whatever, and you're going to read those things every single day. If you don't read your goals every day, there's a big chance you're not going to get them done. I promise you. Read your goals every single day. So here we go. After today, what is going to happen? You need to review your goals daily, update your action steps monthly. Things are going to change. You're going to want to pivot. You have to track your progress, and then you must get an accountability partner. You got to get somebody that you're going to be able to call, reveal these goals to them. Accountability is one of the most powerful, it's some of the most powerful energy you'll ever encounter. Me and Brett was talking about that earlier. Just the fact of having somebody that you have to answer to. I mean, even me in my own business, if my wife wasn't there to kind of like, hey, did you do that? Did you say you were going to do yesterday? I wouldn't be doing half of the stuff I'm doing. So get your accountability partner to help you out with these goals. Does anybody have any questions or anything about anything I talked about? Does anybody want to share any ideas that they came up with for some goals that might inspire somebody else to put that down? All right. I guess y'all got it. That's all I got for y'all, fellas. Look, guys, I hope y'all gained some type of benefit from this talk. I'll have my information up here. Follow us on Facebook, and I'll be anybody's accountability partner and help you get there. If you want to do me a favor, we're collecting our 5-star reviews for Google. If you've ever done business with me or know me, and you want to do us a really, really huge favor, you can scan that code and give us a 5-star review on Google. We'd really appreciate it. And if you don't follow us on Facebook already, you can scan that other one. It should bring you to our Facebook page. There's my cell phone right there, and my email if you ever want to get in touch with me.
Great picture. Great job.
Oh, thanks. Oh, yeah, that's my 2 newly adopted twins.
Wow.
The 16-year-olds right there. They didn't know they were ginger. They found that out the other day. You're like, they're making a football character on Madden, and they were picking their hair color. And Erica goes, "That one right there." He goes, "That's ginger." I say, "Yeah." But anyway, yep. That's it, guys. Appreciate y'all coming out.